All right.
Got the noti about half an hour ago. Soul's down 11.
Fuck Soul. Soul can kick rocks. We want
Facts.
that. We want that ETH BT or that Soul ETH chart to fucking nuke ski.
We need the ETH vacuum. Ooh, ETH down 5.
Whoa! Hold on, let me get the audio pumping. There we go. All right, ready? Mr. Producer, we got all them hoes. Here we
I
go.
just got the email. Properly paid just went live on Kick.
Properly paid on Kickski, cooking up the preem. Hold on, let me see. I should have a new category on Kick and Twitch. Let me check Twitch. Let me check Twitch stream. Kai Sinat, I hope you don't go live in the next. Let me check Twitch stream. Kai Sinat, I hope you don't go live in the next. Let's see. Let me check Twitch stream. Oh, Kai Sinat, I hope you don't go. We are live on Twitch. All right. Anyways, we're back. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, we're live. We're pumping. Well, the channel's pumping, but the market's not pumping. But welcome to another episode of the Ultimate Market Professionals, episode 30. Are you kidding me? Already 30 episodes deep, dialed in, locked in. What are you doing over there, Harry? Looking at the stream?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up on Kickski.
Fire. Yeah.
Trying to see how this looks.
We're here to take over Twitch. We're here to take over Kick. We're taking over. We've already taken over YouTube. YouTube's just got handcuffs on us because we're just too competent, too exciting, too fire. Naeem, I texted you about the thumbnail, Naeem. Did you see that? We need a new thumbnail, Naeem. The people need to know that it's a meme coin retirement plan. All right, Bumba Clut. So, all right, Harry. Well, we're back for another episode. We got a couple text messages here. What are these guys saying? Oh, beautiful. Look, they said, we're ready to invest $1 trillion into your guys' portfolio. You're so competent at investing. We want you to manage our $1 trillion. It was the Prince of Dubai. So we'll probably touch base with him here in a little bit. So what's going on, Harry? What are you seeing in the markets, huh? What are you thinking right now?
I feel like I'm in one of those revolving doors going into a nice hotel. I just keep getting out on the same side and then just going back into the door, and I just keep going around and around.
Yeah, you're
It's
just
like,
trying to get inside.
yeah, just trying to get inside, but it's like there's no opening. They closed off the openings whenever I got in the revolving door. So yeah, I mean it's just been the same exact thing week and week and week over and over and over again. It's like ETH before it was just in a different range. We'd look like we were starting to break out of the range, and then we'd come back down. And we'd look like we were starting to break out of the range, and we'd come back down. And then we nuked out of the range into this new range. And now it's just been the same thing over and over again. So I know we were down to like on ETH, we were down to like 2650s. Yesterday, we were getting a nice recovery. Your message in TC made a lot. I mean, you're like somehow, some way, ETH has recovered back into the low time frame structure. I didn't know how it was happening either because Bitcoin wasn't doing anything. Nothing else was really moving at all. But ETH had somehow recovered. And then overnight and then this morning, yeah, it's just getting pummeled again. So I
Yep.
think it's back down right now to like 2650. Broke out of structure again a little bit. And usually Monday's a fade, like we've talked about. So I'm hoping later tonight, overnight, and then tomorrow we get the reversal. Because it'd be great this week to build some momentum to take us into March. Like if we could get back above 3,000 or 3,100 on Ethereum before March 1st, that'd be beautiful. The opening on March, we're probably gonna jump off a cliff a little bit, like we usually do on the monthly open. But March, April, and May, I mean, it's prime time. So
And it's confluent with seasonality, which makes sense why we're ranging the way that we're ranging right now. The what was it? You just said jump off a cliff. Yeah, so the Monday Open. So correct. Yeah, one of the guys even said the same thing inside of TC, which is true because the Monday Open is typically a fade. That's usually if you get a dump on the Monday Open, that's going to be the low for the week, right? At worst case scenario, we end the week same price as we started the week. So I actually clipped in some buys. I won't say what I bought on stream because we saved that for the Discord. But yeah, I made some buys this morning. I let the people know in the Discord because we hit some nice lows on a couple of assets that we're accumulating. Prime buys. And I also had made the point inside the Discord that these are the times whenever people need to be repositioning and recalibrating their portfolios, getting more liquidity into their portfolios, because people will do anything humanly possible to be able to get more money into the market when price is pumping. So it's so funny how people's minds work, where whenever ETH is ripping, the boys clubs are ripping, Pepe is ripping 10, everything's amazing, everything's bullish, etc. That's whenever you see people fucking maxing out their credit cards, emptying their savings accounts, calling the fucking credit union, all that. They do all that shit when the price is pumping, right? And what happens is they become exit liquidity for people who were already accumulating at the lows. It's times like right now when price is very boring because nothing's really happening, for you to be able to prepare to have money on the sideline so that you can start to accumulate at the lows. And whenever we get these liquidations, or we come back and we take out this liquidity on these lows on some of these assets, that's whenever you want to be buying and doing that type of shit. But there's no urgency from people when price isn't moving. And I want to continue to emphasize that point, that that's not how you make money. You have to have the urgency to accumulate whenever nothing's really happening or price is coming down. Because when you do get the eventual pump, you want to use those other people as the exit liquidity. So I encourage you to have the urgency now to stock up on your portfolios, to make any changes that you want to make. If you had some losers that weren't really outperforming, cut those. If you had too many assets, you were too diversified, cut some of the losers again, start to consolidate into your winners, which is another good point too before we jump into this first chart. Is a lot of times, people talk about diversifying their portfolios. They want to have fucking every fucking stock in the world just so they can be diversified. When in reality, you actually end up missing out on so many gains on the clear winners just by the fact that those clear winners are going to do so many multiples. You want to be diversified to a degree, but not more than 5 to 7 assets as your winners. Because you'll find that whenever you just consolidate into those clear winners, you know that these are winners, and then you just diversify between those couple of winners, you'll outperform so much more as opposed to having 20 fucking different coins. So you don't need every coin under the fucking sun to be able to outperform the market. No, just pick the clear winners. It's pretty obvious which ones are the winners. So I think that's an important point too that people got to understand, is now is when you want to accumulate and then consolidate into your winners. Don't have $1,000 of 20 different coins. Now have $10,000 in a couple different coins, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're evenly distributed against that many projects too, it's like your wins are going to get canceled out by your losses, because you're not going to be able to bring all of those wins together. Like, they're going to be all over the place, especially if they're not attached or moving. They're not off of a levered major.
Right.
It's going to be completely random performance, and trying to keep up with the price targets and stuff on that many coins when a volatile market like this, you're not going to be able to keep up. Like, you're not going to be able to keep track of what price targets you're trying to find on these and what you're looking for. I think the other important thing to mention too, I think I might have said this on one of the previous streams, but with where the coins are at right now, especially just talking mainly about the boys club, if you were buying up close to the highs and you were, I'm guilty of it too. Like, whenever we were flying back in December, I was definitely shoving more money into, I bought Brett recently at 5 cents. I also bought it, unfortunately, a couple months ago at 20 cents. I was accumulating more at that point too. So if you guys were buying the projects up at the highs or close to the highs, at that point you're getting Brett for 23, 24 cents. If you're able to buy Brett now at 4.5 or 5 cents or whatever it's at right now, if you were putting in $1,000 now, it's the same as you putting in $6,000, $5 or $6 grand whenever these coins were up at the highs. So it's like, maybe you don't have a ton of money to invest. Before, when these coins were all pumped up, Pepe was at 12 billion, 13 billion. Andy and Wolf were at $300 and $400 million market caps. If you had to put in, $5,000 to $10,000 at those levels to really make a substantial impact on your portfolio. With how far we're down, being down 80% from the highs, it's, you putting in $1,000 in Wolf, $1,000 in Andy now is the same thing as you putting in $5 grand and $5 grand before. So your money is going so much further than it would have. And if you bought at the highs and say you did put in, $5,000 whenever those coins were way up, at these levels, you can double the amount of tokens you have right now for an extra grand, which is just insane. So think about whenever we get back up, even if ETH, when it gets back up to 4,000, if you had, you know, 15 grand, 10 grand before, this time you're going to have double that because you put in an extra grand at these levels. You can't see it now because, it hasn't caught back up yet. We haven't had the catch up trade on Ethereum, but putting in a couple extra bucks at these levels, whenever we do get back up, you're going to see a crazy difference.
Huge difference.
And I know you've reaped that before from like the March, April pump. And then we had the pullback all through the summer, shoving in at the lows all summer. And then how much harder your portfolio ripped through November, December. It's insane. And you don't see it until you get those levels back.
Exactly, because it's all exponential. You accumulate at these lows again. Your exponential growth compared to the back to the upside. Okay, so today I want to look at some basically pair trades with SPX and Bitcoin, and then one with Ethereum as well, because since we're not getting signal from Bitcoin in and of itself, and we're not getting much signal from Ethereum, we want to start to see what markets are they correlated with, right? So what markets are they correlated with? Why are they trading the way that they trade? So there's some correlation between Bitcoin and S&P 500. So let me go ahead and pull that chart up quickly. All right, let's see. And we want to do screen capture, do a little Mr. Producer.
I just got the email that Exposed went live on Kick.
Oh, no. Poor
It's
guy.
a bad time for him to go live.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He just got decimated. Oops. Whoops.
Like dropping an album same day as Taylor Swift.
Right. All right. Let's see here. All right. So we're gonna go here, search this, and so let's look at Bitcoin. Well, let's do SPX on top and Bitcoin down below. Okay. So here's our range on Bitcoin. Again, still no signal. They're just chopping us to death in between this range here. Okay, and you can see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go to the daily and let's add SPX. Okay,
We're getting minced, chopping us up tiny.
So let me get rid of these indicators so we have less in the way. Okay, so look at this on the S&P 500, because the reality is, ever since we got the ETF flows from Bitcoin, we're starting to slowly trade more correlated with the S&P. Okay, so what's the S&P doing right now? Well, let's just first show the relationship between the two. So S&P starts pumping, you see Bitcoin start pumping. Okay, so you see right here, we'll put a couple of parallels here. So S&P rips here. Okay, well, it starts ripping right here. Okay, as soon as it starts ripping, you see Bitcoin take this next leg higher. Oh shit, we just got a live subscriber. Oh. Hold on, let me pull it up. BB Alexis, what's going on, Alexis, from Twitch? See, you see what happens? We talk about Twitch. Exposed goes live. Was he on live on what, Kick?
Oh, Kick, yeah.
Bomba Cloud. Yeah, rookie mistake.
No, that's a vet wise decision.
To go live when we are?
Oh, I meant on Kick instead of Twitch.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Subscribe on Kick. Kick is a studly. So you see this correlation with Bitcoin and S&P, right? So as the S&P pumps, we see Bitcoin pump. Whenever S&P pulls back, right here, look what Bitcoin does. Same exact thing, okay? S&P pumps, Bitcoin pumps. Well, it started pumping right here. So you see how Bitcoin pumps, S&P dumps. Okay, you see Bitcoin starting to come down. Okay, so what's the point of looking at this? Well, we got to start to draw some type of signal outside of Bitcoin in and of itself, because Bitcoin isn't giving us signal. So if we're getting correlation with the S&P 500 and we're getting correlation with the equity markets, and Bitcoin is inevitably what's going to raise the prices of all of our other assets as Bitcoin moves up, we got to understand, where's the S&P at right now? Okay, so there's the correlation. We see the correlation. Okay, S&P is correlated to Bitcoin or vice versa. Bitcoin's correlated to the S&P. So we want equity markets to start ripping again in order to get Bitcoin to start ripping again. If equity markets continue to nuke, well then guess what? Unfortunately, Bitcoin's going to start to draw down as well. So I see a couple of different scenarios playing out here. So let's look at the S&P directly. Okay. So you see something happening here on the S&P. You got this kind of, we can call it a range. Let's do it like this. So you got this kind of range playing out on the S&P where we keep interacting with this $6,000, $6,100 level, right? So this seems to be a very important level on the S&P. So this was price discovery here, 61, 61.5, okay? And we keep rejecting on this level. So we pumped up through September of 24, October, pump up into November 24, pump up into December 24. And notice that's also whenever our altcoins topped out at. So notice the confluence there. So S&P's topping out here. That's when our altcoins topped out, and that's when Bitcoin started topping out. Okay. We reject at that $6,100 level, and then the S&P starts sideways price action, consolidation, okay? We come back up, we reject, come back up, reject, come back up, reject. We're getting all this rejection here, 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 here. False breakout, nuke back down, and now we got this little bounce right here, okay? So if we want to know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, right? We got what's that beautiful, right? Picasso. Studly drawings. So we gotta think, well, what do we think is going to happen to the S&P right now? That's got to be our guess. And so, I mean, do you have any, what do you think, Bees? Because I just want to show the relationship, but what do you think of equity markets right now? Do you think, personally, I'll say this. Personally, I could see this level coming down and getting hit one more time before we blast back off. So that would be the bearish scenario. Okay, so if we do get this drop back down here to this, what is this $5,700 level on equities, you're going to see Bitcoin do something similar with a pullback, and that pullback would be coming down to get the liquidity at 85K, which would be right here. So the liquidity would be hiding right on that low, that wick right there. So we would come down and sweep that wick on Bitcoin if we do this on the S&P. Okay, that's the correlation we're looking at. So two things we want to be prepared for, and then I'll pass it to you, Bees. If this plays out on the S&P, Bitcoin comes down, sweeps this liquidity, that's not bearish as a whole, okay? Because when the S&P does that, we will pump back up higher later this year because the Fed still has a bunch of tricks in his back pocket to lower interest rates. They still have that in their back pocket. They can stop QT, which is quantitative tightening. Okay, they can stop QT and then start to put liquidity back in the market, start to grow the U.S. balance sheet. Okay, and then as S&P starts pumping higher again and takes its next leg higher, Bitcoin with it, all of our assets with it. If that doesn't happen, in SPX, the S&P 500 just does something like this, bounces off of this mid-range and inside of this golden pocket and just bounces back up into the price discovery, then yeah, Bitcoin does something like this to about 91. Maybe we sweep this low, and then we're pumping back up again, okay? So it's good to be aware of both scenarios. The question is which one's going to play out, and we got to be prepared for both, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't pay any attention to equity markets, even a little bit. I know I definitely should because I know that they're definitely the good especially the SPX. I think it's definitely a good indication of what Bitcoin's going to do.
Right.
And I know a lot of people do pay attention to it. Personally, I haven't looked at that chart in 6 months. So I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, I know you pay more attention to it than I do, right, for sure. Yeah, I don't really have too much of an opinion on that. I mean, I think that the big thing is going to be where Bitcoin closes. So I think that if Bitcoin can close above where it opened for February, I think that's going to be super bullish for March.
Right.
So I know you had the February open level on there. one of those.
Yes, let's see. I got all these fucking drawn here. There it is. February monthly open.
102. So yeah, I mean, we like honestly we were pushing close to that. I believe at the end of this past week. So we were back up about 100,000. Then there was that Bybit scam bullshit news that came out right when Ethereum was pushing about 3,000. Bitcoin was pushing about 100K. This Bybit bullshit comes out, like the 1.5 billion dollars of crypto was stolen or whatever.
Right.
Which kind of threw a wrench in the whole program. But for me, I think personally that news, it's like shit like that happens. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like a long-term structure change in what Bitcoin's going to do. I think obviously it had an immediate effect on the market. I think on the lower time frame, obviously it did have an impact and kind of beat up the sentiment a little bit more.
Right.
But people are going to forget about it. They're going to move on. And yeah, again, I think that today is going to be a fade for the rest of the week. Hopefully this is the low getting put in, or the low was already put in this morning for the rest of this week. And then, yeah, if we can close, because what's the last day of February?
28th. So
it's Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Friday, if we can close above 102 on Bitcoin, I mean, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, I don't pay attention to SPX too much. So if we can, in my opinion, just looking at the Bitcoin chart, if we can close back above 102 to close out February and open March around 102, 102.5, March is gonna rip fucking hard.
Yes, and I'm in the same opinion. You're gonna get one of two things, and I know it's difficult to wait and be patient, but those are the people who are gonna make the most money if they understand the scenarios that can play out. And then being patient in positioning. So March, I could see us fucking ripping face in March, which would make sense with the seasonality of crypto and Ethereum itself, which is what we're heavily invested in. I could also see us continuing to range through March or draw down lower through March, and then in April, May, rip. Okay, so both are absolutely possible. It's just, okay, what's the S&P doing? Because that's essentially what's going to give us our move on Bitcoin, and then how well does Bitcoin hold up compared to that? So I just drew something on the S&P as well. The S&P, just so you guys understand, the reason Logan and I don't pay attention to this that much compared to the other assets is, number one, look at this chart. Okay, this shit is up only. It's a scam. Okay, so just so you guys understand, the reason they have you all invest into your 401ks is because it's just always a constant bid for forever of all of human time on the S&P, because your 401ks invest in the S&P. So it's liquidity for these markets so that over time, these markets are always going to trend upward. Okay. So the way that you make a lot of money is if you understand when these happen, right? These bear markets. So you know to bid at these lows, and then you benefit from this move when it's up only. Okay. So if you look at the S&P from the last bear market, which was in 2022. Yep, exactly. January of 2022. We topped out December of 21. This is also the last bull run for crypto. We create this downtrend. So you see how the S&P respects this downtrend. So you come up, you retest the trend line, nuke. Come up, retest the trend line, nuke. Come up, retest the trend line, nuke. Finally, we break out of this trend line, and then when you see we get a bullish retest of this trend line once it breaks through, and then what happens? As soon as we retest this trend line, look at this, up only. Okay, so now we have this new trend line on the S&P, which you can draw from. You could draw it from here, if you want to be super conservative. If you want to be more, let's call it less conservative. And make
aggressive.
Be more aggressive and try to well, conservative in the sense that this would call a breakdown a lot easier, because
this line,
this line, if it broke down from this line, then you would say, okay, we're going to go into a bear market. So this trend line has not been broken either. Okay, so there's nothing on this S&P chart that tells me, okay, we're about to go into a 1-year bear market. Get the fuck out of crypto. Get the fuck out of stocks, etc. start to look to buy lower. There's no trend that has been broken here. This thing is fucking parabolic. Look at how straight up this is moving. So until we lost this trend and say, okay, here we come. Oops. And then we come up, retest. Oops. Okay, now we're looking at this. We got to get the fuck out of markets. But that hasn't happened yet. And truly more conservatively, or not conservatively, more aggressive would be this low. Because we're still not in a downtrend. Everything's been a higher low. Okay. So until we break market structure on the S&P, we're still bullish overall on markets. The question is when is the local low going to get put in? So now if we zoom back in, it's always important to keep larger time frame in mind. We zoom back in on the S&P and we look at this structure right here and we say, okay, what are the levels that we got to be looking at on the S&P to see where Bitcoin's going to go next? And
I think it's funny because like what you mentioned about the 401ks and stuff, it's like I think that the S&P 500 does do a good job of giving a overarching idea of how the markets are performing as a whole. But it's just funny, yeah, you have an asset that millions and millions of people are incentivized to invest into, and then they're extremely penalized for touching it. So it's like, imagine you have something like Bitcoin where people are incentivized, or, you know, they're given a match whenever they deposit their Bitcoin, or maybe they're given a stake. Like I know they're coming out with the ETF for Ethereum that is going to pay people. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, they're going to get yield off of it.
Yield. Yeah, they're going to receive a yield from holding the Ethereum ETF. So it's like whenever you have an asset that people are incentivized to invest into and penalized severely for selling prematurely,
right?
It's just going to be up only. It's like it's the most manipulated asset ever. It's crazy because I've thought about it before, but not in a while. But yeah, it's just funny. It's like, and then you think about, okay, whenever this asset does start performing poorly, it's not the average investor, it's not the individual that's messing with the chart. They're not touching it.
Right.
You know, even people who are retired, who are over 65, they're not just completely cash withdrawing their entire 401k. They just contributed to it for 40 years. Now they're benefiting from compound interest. They're not going to pull out either. So it's like when it is performing poorly and the trend reverses and it breaks structure, who do you think's on the sticks?
Exactly. And I had this thought before I quit my corporate job, and I had a conversation with a couple other people who still work corporate and they have these 401ks, etc. I told them, I thought of this independently before I even got into investing to this level. Why would every company in the entire nation have 401ks for their employees and make it super important that you invest in that 401k? They match the 401k. They penalize you for taking out of that 401k before 59 and a half years old, etc. Huge tax penalties. Why would they do that? Is it because they really like you and they really want to help you make money and get rich? Or are they trying to incentivize you to do something that benefits them? Oh, now I realize these 401ks are mostly invested in S&Ps and index funds. Well, the S&P is what? The top 500 largest companies in the entire country. So yes, you are incentivized as an investor, somebody working a job, to do that because it's going to grow your money over time. But more so, it's an incentive for the people who are in financial markets to have a constant flow of liquidity into the markets. So now you have, 200 million, 250 million people across the country who are consistently putting in liquidity into the markets. Therefore, the large investors can use that to be able to make their moves, right? So when you want to take control of your own portfolio and understand how these markets work, and this is what we're trying to educate people on, this is how you can start to invest like the quote unquote smart money or the big money, where they see these opportunities, they see these trends. You get these 1 year long bear markets, they're scooping up everything at the bottom, while Mr. 401k was buying all the way up, buying all the way down. He's not taking advantage of any lower or higher prices, right? He's just perma bidding. Other people, they're selling the tops and buying the bottoms, right? Mr. 401k is perma bid even through bear markets, or even through the peak of a bull run, which is clearly not what you want to be doing.
The infinity buy enjoyer.
Exactly. The infinity bidder, the Mr. 401k. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they want you to buy. And that's why financial markets will never go to zero, because everybody's incentivized. It's one of the things that everybody's incentivized to have it go higher. Big money is incentivized to have it go higher. Middle class people are incentivized to have it go higher. Every person in between incentivized for it to go higher. So they're going to continue to flow liquidity into these markets. We just got to understand how we're going to pull the most multiples out of these markets so that we can outperform a normal index fund. Bro, 10% a year on an S&P or an index fund is good for people. 10%, bro. I'm trying to get 1,000 to 10,000% return in crypto. When you talking about 10%. So, but the only way to outperform the 10% is actually be educated on how these markets move.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's your little education on what's going on in these markets. Anyways, so S&P's here. So the question we got to ask is, are we coming back down to retest this major support, this major demand right here? Right? Do we believe this is happening? If we see this happening, expect around an 85K Bitcoin. Where's my template? Okay. Expect 85K liquidity grab on Bitcoin. If this does not happen, okay, just one more reminder. If we get this little bounce like this, and then we bust up into price discovery, Bitcoin does the same thing. Bomba clot. There we go.
Your arrows are insane today.
Fucking insane, dude. I need precision mouse. I need to get an upgraded mouse. Okay, so there's the correlation with S&P and Bitcoin. Now I want to show the correlation quickly with what's it called? With Ethereum and the Coinbase stock. Okay, so here's an interesting correlation. So let's put ETH on top. Okay, and then on the bottom, get rid of that Bomba clot chart, and then we're gonna put Coinbase.
Correlation with what's his nuts.
Look at this chart. So ETH and Coinbase.
ETH chart is like, I have nightmares and I just see that chart in my vision.
Super schizo.
It's so ugly.
So the Coinbase chart emulates the Ethereum chart as well, right? So here's the question we got to ask ourselves. Are we bullish or are we bearish Coinbase stock? Okay. So both of these are on the daily time frame. And you see here how we'll go ahead and point out the correlation again. Okay. Coinbase starts pumping, ETH starts pumping. Coinbase jeets right here. You get this big gap down. What happens to ETH? You fucking jeet. Same thing to the upside. Pumping. We start pumping right here. ETH starts pumping. Okay. You top out over here. Coinbase kind of tops out over here. ETH had this blow off top. So you get this. You get this. Okay. So now you see the correlation. Right? Whenever Coinbase pumps, ETH pumps. Well, this Coinbase chart, again, gives us reason to believe that we could be breaking down further on Ethereum. So we need to watch if this Coinbase chart holds. Okay, let me actually get rid of some of these drawings.
Which of these do you think is the beta, though?
ETH is the beta to Coinbase.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's an equity stock, and then
because I just feel like if you compare Coinbase to Ethereum, then you can kind of compare Bitcoin to what's it called?
S&P.
No, what Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy. So it's like, the performance of Bitcoin directly determines the performance of MicroStrategy. Where I feel like with Coinbase, it's like people who are trading in equities, if they want to get exposure to crypto, then they're going to be one of the main stocks they'd be investing into would be Coinbase. But I don't know if they would be investing based off of the performance in the crypto markets, what Ethereum and Bitcoin are doing, or vice versa, depending on the performance of Coinbase stock.
Right.
Can kind of give us a good idea as to what Ethereum is going to do performance wise.
Right. And I remember whenever we were looking at the correlation between MSTR and Bitcoin, it was MSTR was front running Bitcoin, correct? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think that's what I had mentioned, because I know in BB, a few of the boys had mentioned that MicroStrategy up until a certain point had always been front running Bitcoin by a little bit.
Right.
Which, if that would hold true for Coinbase to Ethereum, then yeah, Coinbase would be a good indication of what's to come for Ethereum.
Right.
But I feel like from looking at this,
Yeah, it looks like MSTR was front running the Bitcoin move. So,
yeah,
like here, we started nuking. Well, let's look at it like over here. So here we started nuking. Bitcoin was topping out. As we started nuke on this, then we came down here. This started moving higher, and then you get this move on Bitcoin after. Yeah, look.
and then Bitcoin ended up topping out.
Yeah.
A
So
few-
so the equities are gonna front, and it makes sense why equities would front run crypto to a degree, because what's gonna happen is when people move further down the risk curve, they're gonna go from equities into crypto. They're gonna go from large caps into small caps like IWM, and then you see that liquidity flow into the crypto markets. So the same way that MSTR to a degree was front running Bitcoin moves, you also have the same thing on Coinbase stock. Okay, so again, just to show the correlation, Coinbase stock has a correlation to Ethereum. It's clear, or Ethereum's correlated to the Coinbase stock. So we got to look now and look for context, because we're not getting a lot of signal out of crypto specifically. We got to look at the Coinbase stock for signal. So let's look at this on a lower time frame, or let's zoom in a little bit. This structure on Coinbase, because again, we got to be honest about what we're looking at here. It doesn't look good. It looks heavy, right? So we came down here. That is right here, okay? So we had this gap down on Coinbase stock. We came back up. We filled the gap, right? This little gap right here. We came back. We filled it. We came back up. Okay, now we left this gap potentially, or this gap right here. We came back, refilled this gap, came all the way down. So now it's a full refill. Now we had this low on Coinbase stock. Okay. We took that and then we still broke down further. Okay. So I could see one of two things happening here as well. If this Coinbase stock breaks down further and we come back down into this zone over here, let's say we come back and fill this, we could get a bounce here, right? We could get a bounce here and then come back up, and that would save ETH. But if this keeps coming down any further and we start coming down into this area over here, okay, and we come all the way back down and we bounce off of this demand, then you're going to see ETH come back down and take this wick that we've been talking about before curling back up. Okay. Now, again, this is all confluent with what? The S&P, right? So if the S&P pulls back down to that level we were talking about, Coinbase, because it's a stock, an equity, that's going to come down and also retest this lower demand zone, which if the correlation is with Ethereum, Ethereum is going to come back down and refill that wick. So you guys see now how you can find the correlations between these charts and understand, okay, what are the potential levels we're playing? What are the bid zones? When are we buying? Great, because we understand the correlation. Great, because we understand the market structure. Where's our demand? Great, here's where we're buying. That's how you make money. So, but yeah, any thoughts on this chart?
Yeah, I think I mean I might see it a little bit different. Just as far as what's to come for Coinbase, the stock, because well, I mean, I know their last earnings report was super solid, so I think they beat expectations by like 23%. The revenues had increased like 130% due to the kind of crypto surge with the inauguration and election. So the earnings report was super good, you know, way above expectations for Coinbase. I personally think that this big wick down, because they had a positive reaction on the chart, which was positively influencing the Ethereum and Bitcoin price action as well the past week or two. Personally, I think that this is probably a local snap reaction to the Bybit news. I definitely think that that would have an impact here. And like we've talked about a little bit earlier, I think that that's probably just going to be a local time frame hit on charts. I don't think that's going to be news that's going to significantly change the structure of this stuff over the rest of this cycle. So I think that this week we should definitely see a lot of recovery. I mean, as long as we don't get any more scam news this week that makes people lose certainty, then I think this week we should see a nice recovery on Coinbase. I think we should see a nice recovery definitely on Ethereum and Bitcoin, because as long as the low is in for this week, which I feel like it probably is. I know Monday usually performs the opposite of the rest of the week, and we have the monthly close coming up. Um, so yeah, I think personal opinion, but that's what I'm seeing here, and that's what I'm hoping for is
Right.
correct.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see the bounce back, and even if we get a bounce back, and we say, okay, this is it. It tapped the demand. We're gonna draw this box right here, and you see it bounce back up and start to curl back up. It's possible that we still get that, right? So it's just important to be aware of what's going on in the different markets, so we have an idea of, okay, how are we gonna react when certain things play out. So
Sure.
I could see it bouncing too. I agree. So, and that's why I'm prepared for both scenarios. I'm prepared, and then we're going to let people know as soon as something happens. Great, we're going to let you know inside the Discord, and we're going to make the moves. So that was the correlation between Coinbase and Ethereum. And then the last thing we'll take a look at is going to be Pepe and then the Boys Club. So we've talked about the correlation before with Pepe, Ethereum. So let me get this back on BTC. Okay. And then let me put this back on ETH. Get this out of here.
I text Bob, let him know we're
Cooking up.
got to go over the boys chub.
Oh, yeah. The favorite, the fan favorite. So let's take a look at the correlation one more time, just so people understand why it is that we're trading these assets the way that we're trading them. Because once you understand why we're trading them, it gives you confidence as to holding them in the long run. Okay, where are you at? Where the hell is it at?
This chop right now is insane.
Yeah. What the hell is Pepe?
I don't think you added it.
The hell? Pepe, crypto spot, new pain. Here we go. All right.
Ooh.
So we got candles. Fantastic. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, why are we trading Ethereum beta? Why are we holding the boys club? Why is this the meme coin retirement plan, right? Fuck your 401k. You don't need the permabid enjoy your 401k. This is your retirement plan, not financial advice, by the way. So we're gonna do the correlation. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. So here's the correlation, right? ETH pumps, Pepe pumps. ETH pumps, makes a top, Pepe makes a top. Okay, ETH dumps. What do you think Pepe does? Dumps. All right. So here's the correlation between the two assets. Let's call it this one then.
Just to mention too, that bottom chart for Pepe, it's like it's obviously a smaller pane. Those moves to the upside and the downside are huge. They're way bigger than they look like in that chart. So that move in February that he has drawn out there was like a 1,200% move to the upside. So just something to keep in mind. It doesn't look significant, but it is.
That's exactly you front ran my front run. I was that's exactly what I was going to show here. So the reason that we're trading these assets like Pepe, Andy, Wolf is look at these moves on Pepe. Okay. So first move on Pepe is going to be 877%. That's a 10x. Okay. So 900% 10x. Why would you hold that if you're bullish on ETH? ETH did 82%. Pepe did a 10x levered. Okay. Now you get this move off the low up to this high. All right. Again, it's purely correlated. So let's take it from this low. ETH moves up 43%. Pepe goes up a 4.5x. Huge. This is Pepe. This is not Andy or Wolf yet. Andy and Wolf are going to be higher lever. Here's the low on ETH. Let's take it to this high. We'll take it to the local high actually. Okay. ETH off the lows. This is going to be September. This was the August 5th nuke. Yep. ETH does a 90% move. What does Pepe do? Let's say this is the local low right here to the high. Boom. Another congratulations 4x. Okay. So clearly it's levered, right? So we have these periods of outperformance, these periods of underperformance, periods of overperformance, periods of downward action, okay? So now we get back to where we're at currently, all right? It's happened in the past where Pepe and Ethereum have both nuked, And then they've come back and created new all-time highs. Okay, well, ETH not making an all-time high yet, but Pepe has. So now we get to this event locally on February the 2nd. This Sunday right here. Yeah, February. This one, wick down, is the 3rd it's shown. It was on Sunday, though. So Pepe is doing what ETH is doing right now. This consolidation that's going to happen right here is generational entry territory, okay? So just like we were down bad over here, just like we were down bad over here, you still get these huge periods of outperformance. Here's the problem, like I was talking about at the beginning of the show. People wait for this move, that move on Pepe, before they get bullish again. And they say, holy shit, Pepe's pumping. We got a fucking ape in. Oh my gosh, it's happening. They buy up here. They're down. Starts pumping again. Oh my God, we got to buy again. We pump. Oh yeah, wow, I'm going to buy more up here. And then this. And that's why people get pissed off. Again, you have to have foresight. This right here is generational. Whether you buy it here, whether you buy it here, even if Pepe comes back down a little bit, oh no, we came back down to 2,100 on ETH, and you buy down here, this move is still coming. Why? Because we believe Ethereum is going to go into, at the very least, match its previous cycle all-time high, if not price discovery, so 6,000. So what do you think is going to happen to Pepe when ETH goes from 20, let's say from the low, let's say it does come back down and fill some of this wick, 2,400. So now let's take it back up to, let's say it goes up to 6K, right?
Even do 5.
Even do 5K. If you guys want to be fucking bears. Let's say it just goes up to 5K. You're looking at a 100% move. Well, what was the last time ETH made a 100% move? It didn't. So Pepe will go into price discovery from down here. Okay. What? Another 4x, 5x just on Pepe, right? That's going to still play out. So again, you got to have the foresight to understand that this is what we're playing down into here. Boom. You get that next leg up because ETH is going to do what? Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Exactly. So what are you worried about? This is what we're saying. This is the move that we're playing because we know Pepe is levered. We know Andy's levered. We know Wolf is levered. So if you think Pepe is going up 5x from that move, if Pepe does a 5x, Andy's going to do over a 10x. Wolf's going to do over a 10x, if not 15 to 20x. So this is the correlation that we're looking for, and we see this base forming. We see this bottoming out pattern. We might still draw down lower, but if you look at the chart in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the chart on a larger time frame, whether you're buying down here or down here, it doesn't matter. You're still playing for this massive move to the upside. So you can't get worried about the day-to-day price action. Think here?
He's kind of stopped talking. I don't know if know what's going on. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, this is what we've been preaching. I mean, now is like if you believe in Ethereum, you believe in the boys club. It's like it's as simple as that. It's not like it happened one time where Ethereum started performing well and then these coins pumped and we're like, oh wow, maybe there's a correlation. It's like every single time. Like if you look at the charts for the past year, I mean, I don't know how exactly when Andy and Wolf got launched, but after the initial hype around the launch of the coin, the charts look almost identical. Like obviously the percentage of the moves is dramatically different because they're extremely levered.
Right.
But yeah, I mean the charts are identical. Like on days where, even on CoinGecko, it's funny because it'll show you like the little preview of the chart of the coin.
Right.
If you put ETH, Andy, Wolf, Pepe, and Brett, and you stack them on top of each other and you put it on daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, the charts are literally identical. So
same thing. Yep.
Yeah, if you believe in Ethereum, you believe in the boys club. And I mean, if you think that all Ethereum is going to do this entire cycle is go to 4,000 and then just retrace again for another 3 years, then you can be in that camp. It's a sad life to live.
Right. The purple bear.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad life to live, especially the last time that Ethereum was at 2,600, Bitcoin was at like 55,000. Now Bitcoin's at 100 grand and ETH is back at the same price. So if you don't think there's going to be a catch-up trade, then I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you think that Ethereum's just going to completely die off and just go off the grid, which, yeah, there's just too much money on the line. I mean, the president of the United States himself is having his investment company buy $500 million of it. His son is tweeting out to buy it. They're approving ETFs that are going to give yield, which
Massive. Boomers are gonna lose their minds.
yeah, the boomers, they love a good yield. Um, yeah, and I mean, this is the time of the year that we expect it to happen. Is like, end of Q1, beginning of Q2, or really all the way through Q2 is when Ethereum is expected to perform well. And if you didn't get the opportunity to buy these coins whenever they were down in August and September and October, and we were pumping hard in November, December, and you were crying about not having enough and you weren't happy with where your portfolio was at, don't cry about it now that the coins are down. Be happy that you can shove in $1,000, and it's the same thing as you shoving in 5 or 6,000 whenever they were up at the highs. Like, you now have the chance to double, triple, quadruple your portfolio and the size of your holdings for 20% of the money. So, yeah, I mean, if you believed in it from the beginning, you're on the doorstep now. You made it through 10, 11, 12 months of bullshit. Why are you going to throw in the towel and sell for an 80% loss on the doorstep of actually winning?
Exactly. Yeah, it's about to happen. That's the thing. It's still happening. It's going to happen this year. It's just, it doesn't look like it right now. So guess what? That's when you buy. That's when you buy, motherfucker. Anyways, so we gave him the juice today, Bees. Fantastic analysis. Gave him some fire. Hey, for those of you guys who haven't seen the last couple of episodes, this is the last couple of days before we go to $50 a month for the Discord. Okay. So March 1st, when we officially go live on just only the Discord package, it's going to be $50 per month to be able to join the Discord. Right now, we're only at $25 a month. Okay. You're going to do it anyways. So you don't want to pay more money for something that you don't have to, right? So click on the link in the description, join the school. I'm going to get you the Discord link to get you into the Discord. That's whenever we post our buys, our sells, what we're accumulating, when we're accumulating them, extra TA, extra analysis on the markets, personal requests, personal charts you guys want done, personal portfolio reviews, everything that you would need to actually be able to maximize the amount of money you're going to be able to make this cycle is going to be inside the Discord, okay? And if you're an investor, I say this all the time, it's hilarious. If you're an investor and you don't see the value in putting $25 a month towards the opportunity to make way more money on your portfolio, then you don't understand how investing works. Okay, it's a no-brainer. $25 a month to be able to generate an extra 5, 6, 7 figures on your portfolio over a long enough time frame, that's most certainly worth it. Okay, it should be way more than $25 a month, which is why it is going to 50 next on March 1st. So move with speed. If you guys get in at 25 a month this last couple of days, 5 days until March 1st, you'll be grandfathered in at 25 a month. So everybody else is already inside of there. They already know that they're grandfathered in. They're going to keep that for a lifetime because we appreciate their support. We appreciate them believing in us when the channel was smaller, when we were growing before there was hype around us. It's going to happen. By the end of this year, there's going to be multiple thousands of people inside the Discord. There's going to be thousands of live viewers. There's going to be people subscribing left and right. It's going to happen. The people who believed in the vision, believed in us from the beginning, they're going to reap the rewards for that. And we're gonna take care of those people who believed in us from the beginning. So, anyways, you got anything else, Bees?
No, not really. As far as the fitness stuff's concerned, I uploaded a new video. So my YouTube channel, I know we got to get it on the
the live stream.
Yeah, what's it called?
Thumbnail or not thumbnail? I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'll do that.
Overlay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get everything put on there, but YouTube channel is BZ Performance, BEEZY Performance. I put up a new YouTube video on Saturday night. I uploaded it, so I went on a 10-mile run on Saturday. Just broke down the run, kind of what I learned from it. Talked a little bit in the beginning of that video about all the supplements and stuff that I'm taking currently and why I'm taking them. So I'm going to continue to put those up, at least 1 or 2 videos a week. So, go ahead and subscribe to that channel if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. And then I'm also having a website get built out right now. Someone's designing the website. So on there, I'm going to have everything listed out for joining the Discord in the fitness section. Everyone that joins at the 50 a month, you get basic access to all the chats. So you're going to still have access to some of the information that Priamo's providing about investing. You may not, if you want to get access to all of his specific, price targets, when he's buying, when he's selling, you can definitely get set up with that too. But even just joining for the fitness side of stuff, you will still have some exposure to that stuff. You'll have exposure to the e-com with Bobby. But that website should definitely be live by Friday,
Nice.
which would be March 1st, I think. That's February 28th. So
Yeah.
either February 28th, March 1st, March 2nd, one of those days here this upcoming week, that website will be live. I'm going to get that linked in my YouTube channel as well. And then you guys can follow me on Instagram too. So it's my first name _Bauer, Logan _BOWER. So I post a bunch of fitness content on there too. Yeah, coming along.
It's fucking grown. It is. It's sick. The content that Bauer's putting in there is huge. I mean, I use it myself. So you guys follow me on Instagram. You guys know I'm obviously in the gym every single fucking day. If it wasn't for Bauer, I'd still be, a bit smaller than I am right now, because he got me on the creatine, a couple of the other supplements that I'm taking right now. He also got me on the skincare routine. I didn't even know that was a thing before Bauer. So I also do that now. That's why I'm fucking glowing every stream, because I got my fucking skincare going. So it's huge. It is a value, because you don't know what you don't know. And it's so, you see it so much, especially inside the Discord with Logan, with Bobby on the e-commerce side of things, teaching people how to build stores, auditing their stores, showing them how to become profitable, run ads, etc., pick products, get suppliers, etc. You don't know what you don't know until you see what these guys are posting in there and what they're actually doing in their personal lives, and you realize, holy shit, I had no idea this was even a thing. And then you start doing it and you realize, how was I not doing this my entire life? How was I not taking these supplements? How are I not taking these vitamins? Why wasn't I working out like this? You just don't know what you don't know. But this is why you need a network. This is why you need expertise from people who are experts in their field, because without you having to go and take the time to become an expert in their field, you just take the information and knowledge they've already gathered for themselves and use it for your benefit. That's a network. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
So
if you're going to spend the time anyways, you might as well make sure you're spending it the best way you can, make the most out of your time and your efforts, and get the most results for what you're putting in.
exactly. You're going to the gym anyways. Why would you not maximize that workout? So beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Producer. Let me do a stream ending. Yeah.
Good night.
Fire. All right, you freaks. I know you guys are. They love the good night.
Ooh.